Hello and welcome back. So today what I want to do is, well, I should start with, between episodes I built this little gadget. It's a block breaker from OpenBlocks and a block placer from OpenBlocks, some hoppers, a timer, some sticky redstone paste and stuff like that. The idea is that it automatically creates my my words. Living rock, there it is. Living rock and living wood for me. And oh, did I filter that? No? Oh, yeah. It helps if you put a translocator on the back of the barrel you actually want items to come out of. It's weird how that works. But the idea here is, what I want to do this episode, I want to make this thing a tad more, I guess, larger scale. Because right now it only does one. And honestly, one is probably going to be good enough, but I'd like to have it make use of the entire radius around the flower if possible. So 8. I don't care if it's all wood, all stone. My goal is kind of a random bit in between. I can use one of the item translocators to keep a full stack of each of the items in here. That way it's a 50-50 shot as to what it produces. But I let it run overnight with wood in it, and you can see it did really well. I've got 242 living wood, so that's kind of the goal that I want to do today. The second thing, let's see. Well, it's not really something we want to work on, but kind of just something I wanted to cover is if while you're watching these videos you find something you like, please hit the like button. If you find that you enjoy them and you want to see more of them, go ahead and please subscribe. It would be nice to get some kind of feedback, comments, likes, whatever on these videos. The general idea of these videos is kind of a learning experience, either for me, for you, enjoyable, whatever. And the easiest way to work that from my end is to get feedback. So, if I see an episode has, 20 likes on it, whatever, I know that there's something about that episode that caught people's interest. So I can go back and I can look at that episode and say, okay, what did I do here that's different from the other ones? And that allows me to try and kind of push forward what I've been seeing and what I've been learning to kind of get it into more of my other videos and try to keep things interesting and, so people like to watch them, which is kind of the goal here. Keeps me entertained with playing Minecraft, and it gives other people something to watch and maybe learn something while they're watching it. So now with that aside, now we'll go to the other point, which is, as I've mentioned before, my brain runs on tangents. Most people's brains are, from A to B to C to D. My brain is A to B to Z to, oh, look, a squirrel, and then maybe back around to B. We're not necessarily sure. And now if I find something at Z that's really entertaining, it will go straight from A to Z and it will knock everything else out of the way. So if while you're watching these, you see that I said, hey, we're going to work on this soon, and 2 or 3 episodes go by and you notice he hasn't worked on that yet, leave a comment, let me know, remind me. I mean, it's in most cases, if I can't figure something out and I need to let it sit, I'll mention it. And that's kind of what it is. It has to go on the back burner until my mind can come up with something. Otherwise, I can't force my way through it. It just doesn't work. So kind of like this thing, I want to do something with it. I want to get the Gormalaeus running, but I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it. So rather than try and push my way through it, I'm just going to kind of let it sit here as a reminder. Every once in a while, I give it some food and, keep it happy. But that's kind of what I'm doing. And one of the things, I got stuck on that. So what I did was I carved this area out down here. I mirrored our current structure. So we've got this on the ceiling, this on the floor. You can see they're connected. And you can see they've got the same little cross beams running through. Basically duplicated everything down here. So this is what I did when I couldn't figure that out. I also took our red string dispenser and I put it down here, and if you look, you see a little red string going up. It connects to the dispenser in the endoflame farm, which I moved from over there to what I'm hoping will be its permanent location. Kind of spruced it up a little bit, about as much as I can. So you can see that I've got I made this little soli, whatever the heck it's called, flower floating. I'm thinking about doing it with all the others. Now the reason with this one that I haven't moved on with it and get it fully production yet is I want to find a way to make it only run when I need it. Either that or I need to have a bottomless pit of mana storage. And right now I don't have that. So, the idea would be if I need power, the timer is activated, the fan is activated, everything is allowed to function until I don't need power anymore. Then it shuts it all off. Because having this fan running all the time is kind of, you just kind of sliding away. It's like, oh, look, I'm moving. So it'd be nice to have that thing turned off. Plus, clicking and particles and all sorts of stuff. So that's kind of where that's going. If you look up here, you'll see I moved the pattern of the hydrangeas. That little awesome particle effect we were getting on them is what tells you that they are too close together and they're not getting the full power they should. They're diminishing their returns they're giving out. So I moved them around. I took them out of there. I spread those 4 along the bottom like they were before, but separated out, and I put the other 4, you can kind of see them in the corners here. They are now producing quite a bit more power. You can, I mean, let's just take that thing off. You can kind of watch it. You can see we got a pulse there. Another one should be coming shortly. I mean, they're cooking along. They filled these up overnight, so what I did was I put my little recessive spark here, and he's feeding into these 4 pools. I'm going to have to get some more, which is why I triggered that thing over there to do living stone, because I need more pools. I can just put a whole bunch of mana pools out here, put sparks on top of all of them, which I made a crazy amount of, and just let this little recessive one feed them. And it also means that if this thing needs power, I can use it as well. So that's kind of useful. I think these probably aren't in range. But, so back to the original topic, now that we've squirreled off in a direction for a little while. That thing. What I was saying is I really want to get that thing to do all 4. It's going to require a little bit of thought because I really want to use... I'd like to use the Botania flowers and the, a redstone mana spreader with a bore lens and all that neat stuff to, go all Botania on it. But that would require things falling. Like the Runicarpus has to have things dropped on it to work. And I don't know if I really want more of that stuff flying around. So we'll have to take a look and see. But for now, I'm going to make some more of these block placers, I think. Fairly simple to make. You can see it, it's almost like a piston pattern, but you got 1 piston and these 2 iron blocks in there, or iron bars. And that gives you the placer. When it gets a redstone signal, it drops or puts an item in front of it. So what I've done here is you can see this timer's running on 2 minutes. It runs around the corner here, automatically kicks this thing right away. The block is in front of it is broken. 4 ticks later, another one is placed. I wanted to make sure that I didn't have to worry about that thing, those 2 going off at exactly the same moment, because those things are fast, those breakers. If it breaks a block and it still has a redstone pulse and a block gets put in front of it, it'll eat it. So I didn't want to lose blocks on there. So that was kind of the thing I was looking at for that. No, can we? No, okay. So that's kind of what I was looking at for this thing there. Random side note, redstone paste, if it's on a wall, you can lay a slab on it just like you could on the ground, which I'd never, seen before, which was kind of neat. And it appears to work with any vanilla slab. So I'm just going to take a little bit of a tangent here because this was awesome. I never knew this was possible. Check that out. So you could actually punch a hole in your wall and run your redstone signal through it. Now, if it's like this, the hourglass was not capable of powering through it, which is why the hourglass is sitting down on the same line, or it'll have to be sitting directly over it. So that was kind of one thing to keep in mind. And it, like I said, it works with pretty much any vanilla slab I've tried out. Oh, that's not the texture that slab normally has. That is normal stone. That's interesting. So just kind of something to keep in mind. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make probably 7 more of those. I've got the placers, I've got a bunch of these. I'm going to go get a whole bunch of materials together, and then we'll take a look and see what we can come up with here. Once I get that together, I will be back. I don't know if you can see them or not, but apparently critters can either spawn on top of the OpenBlocks tanks, or they can spawn on top of the Ender tank. And either way, we had something up here that should not have been up here, which is kind of disturbing. I was on my way back from gathering up some materials and saw him sitting there. Now I'm going to have to fix that real quick. Alright, slight sidetrack. I want to see if I can get us some power generation going. And to do that, I want to see if we can make this thing work the way I think it's supposed to work. So let's go get a little chest. Oops, no, actually I have to open the chest. We'll let those flow into there. And I can see they're not building up in here, so they should be building up there. Now what we need to do is figure out where I put the hourglass we were using on this one, and then go from there. So let's get up here and let's take a look here. What I've been considering doing for some of these is having like a mana pool sitting here and have a couple day blooms and a spreader specifically on like a day bloom just to keep this type of flower running. Just like a small little setup. A couple floating day blooms, maybe a nightshade along with them. Oops, wrong button. Well, at least we know the coal's in there. Now see, that's awesome. So it's coming from down there, it's going into there, so we should be able to apply a redstone signal to that block and have it pop out. So let's double check I've got all these aimed correctly. I never broke these, so this side should be going into this one, and the other side into the other one, and they should be flowing into this one here, because I didn't have an intermediate set up. So that's good. Let's see if we can find that hourglass. I may have to make one, which would be a pain. I did probably an hour and a half worth of digging the other day and made a nice long tunnel down to the diamond level and hardly came out of it with any gold, which is a little weird. Looks like I'm going to have to make another hourglass, so I'm going to do that and then I'll be back. Alright, let's give this thing a shot here. Looks like a piece of coal burns for around 40 seconds, so I got 40 pieces of sand, which should hopefully give us 40 seconds. So let's give that a shot here, and we'll pop up and see how it goes. I need to get some elevator blocks set into this thing. Wait, no, I hit the ceiling, didn't I? Up, there we go. So now if it works, hopefully we'll start seeing it popping off soon. I did put a floating day balloon up there with a little, it's just a standard diluted mana pool. It doesn't need to hold that much. I mean, in theory I should probably upgrade it, but it'll be good enough for now. Is this thing, are any of the flowers lit? Okay, almost. See, those are just plain neat. And there it goes. That'll go off every 40 seconds and use up the amount of fuel we have. So far, this is kind of the design I'm looking at. I don't really like it so far. The idea was just to leave this thing running a single of each material and have them end up in these barrels here, kind of using this setup here, but I don't really like it now that I've got it kind of mocked up, so I'm going to redo it, and then maybe I'll just sink it into the floor like I was talking before. I'm going to get something fleshed out here, and then I'll be back. Now, the moment in truth in the testing here. Let's see if this works. When I flip this switch, it should break all the blocks in the middle, and it did. Cool. So now what I can do is see maybe like, it depends on where I'm going to put the hourglass. I was actually thinking about having the hourglass kind of sitting out in the open in the back so you can kind of see it, or like maybe in the front, or somewhere where you could actually see the hourglass spinning so you'd know the thing was active and you could easily reach in there and shut it off. What I ended up having to do is, because I want to be able to activate things, but I can't mess with the bottom because that's where the items come out, and I need to have the tops open on these because that's where the items are going to go in. So it kind of made things a little more complicated. I'm wondering if I couldn't have some of the red string containers below here, if they'd go through these blocks and allow me access to them, but I'm not sure. What I ended up doing was I wrapped it around. You can see here I kind of trailed it down and around, and I put a repeater here that launches it up into this block, which powers this one, which gets that last breaker to work. Because otherwise, you can see like the signal. Let's see. Yeah, actually, how does this one get empowered? Unless that signal is enough to somehow power both those blocks, that'd be interesting. Hey, I know how this one's working. Well, let's try it out again and see what happens. And just get the combo back in here. Redstone and me are still not quite on the same basis. Well, either way it works. It might be because this piece is here on both of them, but we'll see. Oh no, it's not there on that one. Well, whatever, it works, I don't care. So let's see, we can pop that one off so it matches the other side. So then what I would end up doing is bringing the base out one block and then kind of around here to encase that and kind of go from there, and the same on the top. Not entirely sure on the method of filling them yet. For getting the items out, I'm just going to use hoppers. Because looking at here, all I really need to do is have, just kind of a butterfly. Like the middle ones all point in and then kind of rotate around with the outside. Like this one points in this way, this one points in that way, and so on all the way around. And then just kind of have a hopper in the middle that goes into either an ender chest, a barrel, something that transitions items over to somewhere else, so I can have the output. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. So this part is working. The actual placers are going to be next. As you can see, I need to get, because this block, if I fire a signal through here, it'll light up all of these and kind of go around. It'll be strong enough to reach all the way around to the front, which is what I want. Now, what I'm looking at here is I need to have a repeater in here. Probably don't need to, but I want at least probably like a 2-tick delay to make sure that these block breakers don't just rip the stone up and wood as soon as it gets placed. So that's kind of what I'm working on now, and I'll be back. Alright, so far I've got the breakers working and collecting. So I've got one of the red string containers there, all the hoppers funnel down into that one, and that red string container comes over here. So if we come back here and we activate the circuit, and then we come back over here, and see we should have 8 cobblestone in here. So this part is working just fine. The part that I'm trying to wrap my brain around right now is the part that ends up with these block placers getting loaded properly. Having them go off isn't the problem. It's making sure that they don't... I mean, I suppose it isn't that big a deal. I could just kind of split them up and say that, you know, these 4 get stone, these 4 get wood, and it's not that big a deal. But I kind of like the idea of having them all set to hold, like, you know, 8 of stone, 8 of wood, you know, that type of thing. That way, when they go off, they place, I don't know if they place sequentially, I'm not sure how they do it. But the idea being that hopefully they will not place all of this, all of that. But I get the feeling they probably do. I mean, I suppose it'd be easy enough to test, but what I may end up just doing is kind of splitting them up a little bit, saying that, you know, these 4 get this item, these 4 get that. And in theory, that might not be that bad. If I had like an ender chest here, I could have transfer nodes feeding into these 4 for wood, put another one on top of it, and have some like hoppers or something around it feeding down. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look at it and see if I can kind of try to wrap my brain around it, like I was saying. That one over there was nice and straightforward. This one, not so much. I'm sure when I look at it later, I'll be like, oh, why didn't I do it that way? But for now, I'm sitting here kind of scratching my head going, huh. So I'm going to do that for a little longer and see if I can figure this one out. Okay, so it's been a little while. I think I may have something kind of figured out. There's an awful lot of red string flying all over the place in this thing, but we'll see if it works. So the idea being here that these 2 or these 4 are controlling the stone, and you can see they've each been set to hold 1 stone in them. So they'll drop their stone, they'll immediately be replenished. Then I've got the corner 4 are being controlled by these 4 red string containers, which are going to be fed by this thing. At least that's the general idea. We'll see how it actually works out, and place that there. And that little nub is in the wrong place. That's supposed to be here. So then what we do is we come in here and we tell this thing, because I had it wrong on this side, this one needs to be able to keep, it always needs to have, 4, so left click increase, right click decrease, so I want 4 birch in this thing at all times. So you can see nothing's happening right now, but if I throw that in there, it gets taken away. And then what I need to do, there. So now, in theory, if I throw birch and stone into that chest right there, it'll all be available in this one, and this thing should start spreading the materials out the way I need it to. And then we'll just throw these down here for safety, and we'll see what happens. Then I need to get the redstone rewired because I messed that up when I replaced those red string containers, I think 4 times because I kept putting them at the wrong height. I'd put them down and be like, okay, this looks right, and then I'd go to play something else, but no, that's completely wrong. Okay, this is right. No, it's completely wrong. So hopefully it'll pan out. And let's actually go sleep real quick so we can actually see what we're doing here. No critters have spawned up there since I put the slabs up there. Hopefully it was just a fluke, but I'm not sure if they spawned on the tanks or where. All I know is I've never had any critters spawn in the center of our base before, so my only thought is maybe the ender tank counts as a block. So who knows? But let's take a look here. So what should happen is when I throw this birch in here. Okay, let's do that. Now let's go up here and take a peek. Nope, that's glass. One stone. And we come down here. Too far. One stone, 1 birch, 4 birch. Alright, so let's pop over here. What do we need to do? It looks like if you hold shift and you click in the center, it does everything, which is kind of cool. It does, if you hold shift, whichever side you're touching, it does a complete crossway. So like I'm holding here on the left and I click, it'll do all the way across. Don't need, no. don't need that one all the way across. Actually, I do. So we'll connect that. Take a peek over here on this side, which is incorrect because I was messing with it. Now we need to get you off of there. Break that one. What we need now is a block here. I wonder if this will work. Oh, they can share the same space. That's awesome. So now we'll just set that up to 4 ticks because... So what should happen is if I do this... Ooh, no? Okay, so it takes the signal... it must not... It must be completely directional then. I'll have to mess with that a bit, but for now... Every time I do this, you have to connect it, otherwise it will not work. Actually, I think I only need to connect it there and there. Let's try that. Okay, kind of. Alright, so this circuit fired. This circuit does not appear to have fired. Either that or let's go in here and take a look. Yeah, see, we got birch and stone. We got way more stone than we should. So when this went off, it did more than it was oh. Oops. Let's see here. That is not supposed to be there. Oh, I can't put something there. Alright, let's see. We're going to have to rework this thing a little bit. Basically what I need is I need a signal to go through here, but only after it's a couple ticks. Because you saw what happened there. When they both went off at the same time, it just instantly ate what was placed down, which is what I've been trying to avoid. So let's take a look. We need to have the switch needs to immediately fire this, and then it needs to send the comparator signal up. But if we just move... Where do we want the clock? I think that'll be the important part. Because honestly, if we put the clock here... There's the clock. Let's see, if we set it here, we're going to need to have something coming up underneath it. This is all going to have to get rewired when I start making it look pretty later, but for now it'll work. So we do this to connect it down to here. That should connect it all the way through here. It'll fire this entire circuit first, wrap its way around to here, and that's when we need to get it to go off here. But can we kind of cheat somehow? Is there a way? If we could put a sticky piston right there, or a sticky comparator there, repeater, it wouldn't be an issue. Let's see. That might work. Let's try this here real quick. So normally there's going to be a piece of stone there, so we'll just put another piece here for, just for giggles for now. Pop up here and put that there, because these things can share the same block. What happens then if we wrap this around to here? Will that work for us? And then for testing sake, alright, so ideally what will happen, that piece of cobblestone will get destroyed and everything else will get put back. I get the feeling it's because I'm using this thing. Okay, so that wrapped, it did not. Well, that would have been kind of cool, but we can make it work. Nope, not what we wanted. Alright, so that... Let's just put it up here where we can see it. And, oop, missed. Here and here. Get our slab back in place. Oh, that's not right. That's supposed to... Nope, gimme. That's supposed to be right there to activate that one. This piece shouldn't need to be here. Wraps all the way around this way. Okay. Let's see what happens. Let's, you know what, for the heck of it, let's just fire it for real and see what goes. I'll activate it and then put some sand in it. We'll see how it happens. So sand. 2 minutes is too long, but it works. So, I mean, it's a little bigger than I wanted it to be. I may end up, leaving this one as a turn on when needed and leave the other one, like build another one like that. We'll see. But let's see what happens here. So I'm going to activate this. I'll be back when it gets closer to the timeout because I get the feeling I'm not flipping the switch fast enough. So let's see what happens. When you're sitting here staring at it, 2 minutes is a really long time. Alright, we're getting close to this thing going off now. It's probably got a few more seconds still. And almost. No. Why not? Oh, oh, that figures. It's up too high. Alright. Let's fix that real quick. That needs to be right. No, that can't be like that. Maybe it needs to be maybe I was right before and it has to be a full cross section, because I know I've always had this thing sitting down before. So let's just see if we can fix this before the 2 minutes elapses. I'm going to fix all this later once we get it working, but for now I just kind of want to get at least a functional prototype. And then we need to just there. Need to get rid of you and you. Alright, there we go. So we've probably got about a minute more to go, so I'm going to wait that out again, and then I'll be back. Alright, it's about that time again. Hopefully it works this time. Let's see. And flip. Come on, do it. No. Why not? These did not go off. Why not? So there's something wrong with the way this is functioning. I wonder if it's because that piece maybe needs to be there to give it a connection. You can tell I've never actually... This is the first time I've ever even realized you could put these things in the same square together, so I imagine that's probably what I'm doing wrong, is I'm not actually making the connections the way they need to be made. Let's waste some stone. Cool. Okay, so now we should have... all of our materials are in the proper locations, which is as they should be. Let's let this thing run. Let's pop this back here, and while that's going, let's go shut that thing off because it ran out of coal a while ago and it's just been sitting there going click, 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 click. That's one of the reasons I want to try. What I'm trying to figure out is there's got to be a redstone circuit out there. I just haven't looked for it yet. That every time, what I basically want is I want it so when the pool has enough power, it fires a single pulse. When it no longer has enough power, it fires a single pulse. So basically every time the state changes on the circuit, I want a single redstone pulse to come out of it. You'd need to be really careful that it didn't get out of sync, but that could be fixed with, just put a button on the circuit somewhere where if you had to, you could just walk down there and hit the button to reset it. And I know they're out there, I just for the life of me cannot remember what they're called. So I just need to see if I can find one and then try and work it into the way this design currently is. And one of the other things I was looking at is not jumping way up there. If I turn these into floating flowers, I can push them in farther. I can actually have them right along that line, like on that line of chiseled cobblestone. So it pushes the whole thing in a little bit. It kind of makes it a little more compact, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. And we're getting there. Wait, was it a blood hunt? Okay, no, it was just night. Alright, well this has got probably another 45 seconds or so. I'll be back when it gets close. Okay, you'll notice I made a little change here. I had to push the repeater back one. I noticed it just before it went off before that it wasn't quite working. So let's see this time. And, come on. Yeah, I'm betting. Let's take a look here. No? I wonder if that signal is just not long enough to set this thing off. It's weird because it was working before, but now let's take a look. Let's go 1, 2, 3. I'm guessing that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So it should be far enough. Now if I put the switch there, it works just fine. So more than likely, what happens if we do this? No, 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 no. Nuts. Lever probably isn't the best choice for testing in this situation, but let's see if we can do it. Okay, so if I fire it from here, it works just fine, rolls around. So why is it not working when the hourglass goes off? I wonder if the hourglass, before the repeater was closer, so I'm wondering if maybe that's the problem. Like maybe if I put the repeater here and then trail the signal up, maybe that'll work. I've got a little bit of time here. So let's see if we can't get this worked out before it goes off next. Actually, I may not have enough time. Not enough time. Let's put the repeater here. Vortex. Nope, nope, nope. Come on. There, whatever. There. And come on. Here. Did I get them all? I have no idea. Let's find out. Come on. Long time. 2 minutes is a long time. And? See, it's pulsing fast enough. I'm really wondering if the signal's not even getting up here. I'm wondering if it's not enough. Seriously. Go figure. Alright, let's take out the cobblestone and the birch. Let's put the birch back where... Oop, that's not birch. Put the birch back where it goes. Wait another 2 minutes, and then I'll be back. Okay, I loaded it up with cobblestone so we can see if anything actually happens. So I'm pretty sure the breakers are going to work. That hasn't been the issue. Okay. It seems like the signal wasn't staying on long enough to actually reach where it needed to go. So putting the repeater there seems to have worked. So it wraps around here, and what I did was I kind of cut it off from where it was, and I kind of snaked it around here on the underside and around, which means I'll be able to kind of bring a wall around here. What I'm also thinking about doing is when I start prettying this thing up, I'm going to move the hourglass. Not entirely sure where yet. I don't really like it where it is right now, but I may end up having to leave it there and kind of weasel some way in here for it to still function. We'll see. But for now, it's working so far. I'm going to slap a spot loader onto that area, and I'm going to let it go for an hour or two and come back and see what's in there. So what we're going to do, like I said, we'll let that run. I'll see about prettying it up between episodes, and then we'll take a peek at it when I get back. Otherwise, I think we're going to call it here, and thank you for watching.